Hello and welcome back to Yoga, Movement, and Mindfulness with myself, Jeannie. This is video 4 in the Yoga for Beginners playlist. And in today's class, I'm going to be teaching you some standing poses. These are some popular poses that you'll see here and that I like to use in some of my classes. I obviously won't be teaching you all the standing yoga poses, but I'm going to break down 7 of the ones that I really like to use in my vinyasa classes. If you haven't already, check out the videos up above where I bring you through a very gentle warm-up and I break down sun salutations A and B. Today we're going to get started standing, so I recommend that you do your own little warm-up to get started. So throw on some comfy workout clothes, roll out your yoga mat, and let's get moving. We're going to get started in a mountain pose, standing at the top of your mat. So I broke down a mountain pose up in the previous video in sun salutations. So from our mountain pose, we're going to step the left foot back into a high lunge. So we'll start at the feet first, setting our foundation. So if you need to, you can spread the legs a little wider on your mat for better stability. The more narrow the stance, the more balance you're going to need. So grounding down through your feet first, really pressing into the mat. We'll keep the back heel lifted for now in a high lunge. Pressing into the heel and then really powering up the back leg to press the hamstrings towards the ceiling. Coming back to the front knee, we'll make sure the knee is stacked over the ankle or slightly behind. Pull the left hip forward, the right hip back to square your hips at the front of the mat. Slightly pull belly button to spine, a nice strong core. Then option for hands. You can bring hands to thighs or hands to heart center, or maybe reaching the hands up overhead. If you're reaching the hands up overhead, really focus on drawing the ribs in and having a nice strong core so the back stays long and flat. So this is a high lunge. To take this into a warrior one, we're going to ground down through the heel. So a lot of the times when we ground down through that heel, our left hip begins to open up. So we really got to focus on drawing that left hip towards the front of the mat for warrior one. So if you can't draw that hip in, this is where lifting the heel helps. So it's your choice if you want to try warrior one or a high lunge, figuring out which one works for your body. So it's not always how a pose is supposed to look, but it goes by feel. So we'll step that left foot back in, give the legs a little shake, and we'll switch sides, evening it out. We'll step the right foot back, start in that high lunge first, really pressing the heel, trying to get it towards the mat. Maybe feeling that right hip open up as you draw the right hip forward. And same thing, hands can come to thigh. Maybe trying hands to heart. Or advancing the pose, hands come overhead. Draw those ribs in. And then if you want, drop that heel, pull the hip towards the front, warrior one. Nice strong stance, strong in the legs. Then we'll step the right foot back in, coming into mountain. So adding on, we'll step back that left foot, high lunge first. And now we're going to open up that foot to find warrior two. So again, starting at our feet, always start with your foundation first. So what happens here when you open up into a warrior two, you open the hips to the side of the room. The back foot becomes parallel to the back of the mat. And then the heel of the front foot is in line with the middle arch. So if you come here, bring the feet together, they're in line, so that foot comes right out straight. You're lunging in to the right knee, so the front knee is going forward, and the back leg is straight, nice and strong. Stacking the torso in the middle as you open up the hips. Arms come out long like a T and reach through all 10 fingertips. And you're not lunging the body forward. Really keep the body right in line in the middle. So this activates your obliques, your core. You can even take a peek back over the left fingertips and reach back. Then over the front, reach forward. So trying to stay in this reaching in both directions, keeping the body in the middle. So this is warrior two. And again, keep that core nice and strong, trying not to arch the back. And then we'll come back into that high lunge, step the right or the left foot back forward, mountain pose. And we'll try warrior two on the right side. So we'll step the right foot back, coming into your high lunge first, and then open up warrior two. So I'll come back on to you now. So lunging forward into that left knee, take a peek down that the heel is in line with the middle arch. Hips are stacked in the center, opening up to the side of the room. Arms reach out. And then try pressing into the outer edge of that back foot. And try opening the knee towards the left, engaging the inner thigh. We'll turn the hips back to the front, high lunge, and step back into mountain. So that's warrior one, warrior two. And now I'm going to show you warrior three. Warrior three is a balanced pose, and it can be a little bit advanced. And there's ways to work through it and learn the pose. So grabbing a couple blocks, or you can even bring your hands to a chair or to a couch. A chair brings the ground a little higher to you and higher than the blocks. So you can bring your hands to a chair or a block and then kick the right leg back. Drawing that right hip down so the hips are level, and then kick into the heel. So then using the chair or your couch for balance, or you can grab blocks, bring hands to blocks as you kick into the leg. And the goal here is to stay lifted in your chest. So not hinging and folding, stay lifted. Then you can add on from here, maybe lifting one hand, going back and forth, or maybe lifting two, bringing hands to heart center. Really powering up that left leg. You can have a slight bend to the knee. Foot is flexed in that right foot, like something can hang off of your leg. You can try hands to heart, or maybe reaching the arms behind you, extend through fingertips. Or hands can come out to an airplane. These are just all different variations. You don't need to try them. You can reach the arms forward, or you can try them. You can wobble and shake and fall and just learn to get right back in. That's a lot about yoga. It's about playing with your edge, learning to laugh at yourself, and getting right back into the pose and trying again. If I gave up yoga the first time I fell, I would have stopped a very long time ago. But it's about learning your balance, testing your limits and having a little bit of fun with your journey. So we'll try that on the right leg. So again, grabbing whatever props you need. If you want to try the chair or the blocks, we'll really press down through the right leg first, shift the weight over. Then start hinging from the hips as you fold and then lift the back leg. So hands can come to blocks or to a couch or chair. Slight bend to the knee, power up the thigh. Pull that left hip down so the back is nice and level. Crown of the head reaches forward as you kick through your heel. So again, option to stay here. Maybe you're playing with some balance, lifting the hands. Focus your eyes. Focus your breath. Then maybe playing with lifting the hands. And again, you can pause the video anywhere you want to practice some of these poses. And we'll bring the left foot in, give the legs a little shake, and come back to a mountain pose. So that's breaking down some of the warrior poses and a little bit of balance. So a couple more poses that I wanted to show you, and ones that are very popular in a lot of yoga sequences, and ones that you'll see here a lot throughout my classes, is extended side angle and revolved side angle. So again, you can grab a block for these poses, and we're actually going to step the left foot back and bring both the hands down to the mat. So if you want to bring your left knee down first and watch, you can. So for extended side angle, we pivot on the back foot. So it's the same as warrior two stance. So the feet are in the same position, really pressing into the edge of the back foot, and the heel is in line with the middle arch. A couple options for hand placement. The forearm can come to thigh, or you can grab a block inside of the foot or out and bring hand to block. Focus on opening up this left hip and tucking the right hip under. Hand can stay on your hip, or maybe reach the left arm up, eyes can follow. You can stay here or reach bicep by ear, adding on to the pose. So the goal here is to have the weight really light in your right hand. And you want to learn how to activate your obliques so you can lift up out of the pose and really power it up. And this is where I like to add blocks in this pose. If you have a lot of flexibility in your hips, like myself, I find this pose easy to collapse into. But I want to make it a power pose and activate my muscles. So really pressing into my legs to lift up. So if I add a block here to give myself some length, it reminds me to lift up and engage my obliques. And that's as you add on over time. Work with your alignment first, learning to stack the shoulders, stack the knee over ankle, and then work on engaging the obliques. And we're going to come into revolved side angle. So you can come back down, bring the hands to frame the foot. You can bring your knees back and watch for a minute. So revolved side angle is a very similar shape. We're just taking a twist. So if you come into a low lunge position, grab your block and bring the left hand to the block. We're pivoting up on the back toe so you're kicking through the ankle. The ankle lifts off of the mat. Then adding a twist, we're going to twist towards the right and lift the right arm up. Eyes can follow the fingertips or you can gaze down towards the mat. So this is revolved side angle, twisting from side angle. We're going to bring the right hand back down. Bring your knees together and push back into a child's pose. Take a little break into the hips. And I'm going to show you another pose that we kind of flow into with these poses before we try them all on the other side. So we're going to come into triangle. So you might need to step the left foot in just a touch. So in this pose, both the legs are straight. So straightening through the right leg, grab a block and place it inside of the foot. And we're going to open the hips to the side of the room. So you can have a slight bend to your right knee if you need to. Right hand finds a block, left hand to hip. Open up the hip. Stay here, or you can add the left arm to reach up. Triangle pose. So both legs are engaged. If the leg is straight, really pull up on the kneecap. And the same as your side angle, you want nice strong obliques. So you can lift up, weight is light in the right hand. And try not to crunch into the right side. Reach the crown of the head forward as you reach the left hip back. Stretching the inner thigh, the hips, legs, and coming into a little twist into the back. Triangle pose. From here, bring the left hand down, bend the right leg, step the foot in, and rise back up to a mountain pose. So we'll try all those poses on the right side. So first we'll start, step the right foot back, grabbing a block. We'll bring it inside of the foot and we'll find side angle. So the foot is parallel to the back of the mat, the right foot. Try pulling that left knee in towards the arm, then the arm presses back. And we'll reach the right arm up, side angle, opening up the right hip, slightly tucking the left hip under. Gaze can look up towards the ceiling or maybe towards the mat. You can reach the arm, bicep by ear, full side angle. And then we'll take this into revolved. So lifting the heel, coming into a low lunge position. We're going to bring the right hand inside of the right leg, coming onto a block, bringing the ground a little closer. Then we're going to lift the left arm up into a twist, pulling belly button to spine as you twist, squaring the hips to the front of the mat. Then the left hand comes down, coming back to this low lunge position, and we'll set up for triangle. So the left hand comes inside of the left leg. You can step the right foot in just a touch if you need to, toes pointing out on a 45-degree angle. Straighten the left leg. Of course, you can bend the knee as much as you need to. Hand can come to block or to the floor or even up the shin. Open up the right hip. Hand can stay on the hip or maybe reach the right arm up. Crown of the head reaches forward as the hip forces back. And we'll bring the right hand back down, bring the knees together, and push back into a child's pose. Bring the knees wide, a little stretch in through the hips. And we'll rise up to hero's pose. So that is just a breakdown of some of the standing poses that you'll see here throughout my classes. Come back to this class now and again if you need a little help in some of your poses and learning some of the alignments. I hope you have a great day. Be mindful of your thoughts, be mindful of what you say, and be mindful of how you feel. Namaste.